Okay, welcome back everybody. The last video I did my mold and poured it in here. You can see chunks coming up from what I cut out to kind of make the best of the pour I made. The next step is to get it out. And it's not going to be easy. I'm actually going to have to cut this sucker. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to cut it with. But that's next. I let this sit. I was going to just let this sit for, 24 hours. It hardens way quicker than that. I think it's 4 hours total. But I got busy with other things, and so it's been at least a week, if not longer, since this was poured. So let's see. Oops. Let's see how to get this thing cut out. I could be really crazy and just use a Dremel tool. That'd be kind of fun. Clay's still inside in the bottom. Get all these little pieces out of the way. See that? Kind of sucks you have to break those containers. I mean, they're not cheap. Pull this out. That's the bottom. There's our sculpture. Obviously, some of the silicone came up underneath it, so I'm going to cut that out a little bit. Doesn't even look like it set. For me, this is a very expensive trial by error. The silicone rubber is not cheap. And the amount I went through this time to pour this has really convinced me to make smaller sculpts. And if I could sell this stuff, great. That way I can fund the hobby as it were. And so I think the next part is to cut this open so I can get my sculpture out without breaking it. Did it again. Crap. Alright. Well, I guess the worst case scenario, I can just do a new sculpture. Not that big of a deal. Only spent dozens of hours on it already. That's what I got. That is super thick. That's probably way thicker than it needs to be. Way thicker. Some of y'all are probably screaming at me, "You're such an amateur." Yes, I am an amateur. This is the second time I've done this. All right. I mean, I can wiggle them. There we go. Got him. All right. Dang. Yep, definitely scratched him up all along that side. Yeah. Oh well. That's fixable. I'll just patch it. That's going to be a little more complicated, but came out okay. There's the mold. I'm hoping we'll probably get a little bit of a jagged look to the side, but alright, there's some stuff in the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, little white bits of clay. Probably from where I was cutting this open, it chipped. So I'm going to try and clean that out a little bit, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I have a dilemma. We are melting crayons to make this mold. So I didn't have anything, or I thought I didn't have anything to keep the seam from breaking. So did some online sleuthing, found out Teflon tape is heat resistant. I don't know how heat resistant this stuff's going to be. But we're going to try, see what happens. Did basically a whole roll of Teflon tape, because I was thinking packing tape. That's definitely not going to work. That'll melt. So got a few crayons in there to start off with. I got all these to strip nude and put them in. I'm just going to do it in intervals. The oven is heating up. I got a pan of water to set my mold in, just as a secondary containment. And before I do that, I probably want to double check that the water line doesn't go up to the cut. Otherwise it'll leak in. So that is the next step. And so I changed my mind on how I was going to do this. I was originally going to go in the oven, all that. And what I found out was this is so thick that anything inside is not heating up and melting. So my wife and I went out to go to Goodwill, see if we could find a pot. She's like, "Oh, you need a pot? I got one." She gave me a pot. So what I've been doing is taking my little chunks of crayon, melting it down until it's liquid, and then pouring it inside a little bit at a time. So it's taking longer than expected, but hopefully the result will be really cool looking. And I'm already down to my last 2 cups of crayons that are broken up, so I'm gonna have to strip some more. And I think this is purple. It looks brown, but I'm gonna put little dashes of that in there as well. So that's what we're doing. It's taking a lot longer than expected, but I think it's gonna work out good. So, after nearly killing us with the fumes in the kitchen, I decided to use my camp stove and melt down crayons. I believe this is the last bit. I thought the previous pour was, but it kind of concave, convex, whichever one. It went down, it drooped. Let's put a little bit more in, see what happens. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to take this bad boy out next time you see me. Alright, boys and girls, the moment of truth. Will it be deformed like this little dude? Or will it come out like this, but multicolored? And you know, not shipped. It's falling apart now. Alright, let's see what happens. This Teflon tape, by the way, it worked really well. I need to buy more of this stuff. Alright, where's the crack? Not the crack, but the seam. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Huh? What do you guys think? You can see where the seam is, but I might be able to melt that down and smooth it out a little bit. Man, that's pretty cool. That came out really good. Gonna break off. So yeah, just touch it up a little bit. You know, get rid of some of these rough edges. But there you go. There's a little bit of bubble. But dude, this came out awesome. This is really cool. Starting out, it was more or less like do a color, let it cool off a little bit, and then do the next, and on and on and on. And as I got further to the bottom, since it was in the mold like that, I started, as I poured the molten crayon, just kind of let it dribble on the sides, and that's how that got there. And then you can see kind of the layering. And then I would also angle the mold this way and that. That's why you get that weird spot of purple. Yeah, this came out pretty cool. So yeah, I'm going to clean it up and probably show you a little bit more. But yes, this is awesome. Way better than... I mean, this is still cool. But this is what I wanted. This is what I got the first time with my Sofubi mold. This came out great. Definitely a learning experience. Definitely not going to cast a mold as thick as this next time because it is cumbersome and expensive. I mean, this was, I think this was 2 of those bottles of each, like two pairs to mix this to cover everything up. And yeah, this thing is dense and heavy. So yeah, there we go. Well, there you have it. My first several attempts into casting something. I started out with this little guy here, sculpted him. It took me hours, probably a whole day on a Saturday, 8 or 9 hours, maybe longer. Made out of Sculpey, fired in my oven, casting, the casting fluke, the overindulgence, overboard, course correction. From this mold, we got from that mold, we actually got our PLA, remelted 3D printed PLA scrap. The little poops. We have a poop gnome. Still need to clean this guy up. But that was my very first cast. And then the second one you saw me working on, which was this guy, turned out super misshapen. And that was because this is so thin. There was nothing to hold this shape. It just kind of buckled under its own thinness, I guess. And then making this sucker, melting down crayons to make the final piece, which turned out fantastic. Still some flaws, but it came out way better than I expected. So there you have it. My Cyclopean gnome figure. Let me know if you guys like this video, if you want to see more like this, or if you'd rather see more drawings. There's going to be a mix, really. Hopefully we're going to be getting into not only commission work I do, but also comic book pages I'm working on. This channel really kind of helps keep me motivated, and I do apologize for the lateness of episode 16. That was a really busy week. I'm actually going back to college to get a certification, so that took up a lot of my time, and I completely forgot about it. And so this one's up on time, I can guarantee you. And if not, I guess you can yell at me in the comments. Not the comics, in the comments. Again, if you like this, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, let your friends and enemies know. That way you can please one and torture the other. Leave a comment below, ask questions, suggestions. I've even thought about maybe even offering an opportunity for anyone who was interested to get one of these. If you're interested in that, let me know. Right now, pricing wise, I have really no idea. I feel like, you know, if you guys just send me a crap ton of crayons, I will cast a mold for you. But I probably will retire this mold and try something in between these two. Because this thing is, it works, but it is thick. Really thick. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.